slide. So say you have applied. I'm not sure if all of you on this call have applied yet, but if you have not, and please go ahead and do so if you are interested after this call. But if you are selected, what does that mean if you're going into Innovate Birmingham? As I mentioned earlier, we are short-term, we are a boot camp. When you think of boot camp, you might think army crawling. It's intense. There's a reason that we have a high intensity boot camp. You're not spending 2 to 4 years waiting to get the credentials that you need to get into the workforce. We thankfully, I had a call yesterday, learned about some hours. In a 4-year degree for, say, computer science or digital marketing, you have around 700 hours of training that is specifically in that skill. In 14 weeks, you get a little over 500 hours of that same skills training at no cost, plus professional development at our program. That's huge. So it's here to prepare you. And take advantage of the opportunity. If you please apply, and if you are selected and you're here, lean into everything we provide and work really hard, because it will pay off. So now that I've told you a little bit about the differences in our program, let's get in a little bit of the nitty-gritty. Reggie, will you tell them a little bit about a day-to-day in the life of a data analytics candidate?
Okay. Yeah, first let me give a bit of an overview of the program itself. I'm not sure how much you guys have checked it out, but it's a 14-week program, of course, and we cover a few different things during the program. We cover Excel, SQL as a language, then Microsoft SQL Server, Power Query, Power BI, and Tableau, which most of those are Microsoft products, Tableau being the one that's not. And it's very, I would say, one thing I like to get across is that it's a full-time commitment, of course, 9 to 5, as you can see from the schedule here. We expect you to be there and accountable at all times. But I'll just go through the day in the life. So we have multiple check-ins throughout the day. 9, 12:45, and 4 are our normal check-ins. Then we have our instruction and self-paced learning that will differ from day to day. A lot of times there will be a lecture that either Taylor or Robin or myself will lead. And then outside of that, we'll have you do some self-paced learning, which we have challenges for whatever subject we're covering at the time. So you see, that's what we do typically from that block from 9:30 to 11:30, and then 1 to 4. And the 4 to 5 block is a end of day check-in, just try to close out the day, make sure everybody, made it through the day okay, take any feedback that you guys may have, address any questions, any issues you might have. Taylor and I work very hard to be visible, so that's why we have those multiple check-ins each day. With it being a virtual environment, it's harder to be visible, of course. So it's important for us to stay in touch with you guys all day and provide that same support that we could if we were in person. Yeah, I think I covered most of that. But the number one thing I want to get across is accountability. I know, we're living in a bit of a different time right now, with us being in a virtual environment and not being at the depot where we could all just be there and congregate and just have open discussion. So we expect you to be available from 9 to 5 each and every day. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
And I'll go over a little bit of a day in the life of somebody that's in the coding boot camp. It looks kind of similar to the data class, pretty much right at 9 a.m. We do a check-in with all the students and the instructors, kind of just go over like a summary of the day, pretty much just kind of what everybody's expected to do for the day and what it's going to look like. Then right after the check-in, we go to the co-working space where normally we'll just help with lab assignments, answer questions, troubleshoot, all of that kind of stuff. Pretty much, the co-working space is where, kind of like Reggie said, it would like simulate a real life learning environment where you can just be in there with students and ask each other questions and ask the instructors questions. and then we'll go, the instructors normally go to lunch, 11:30 to 12:45. But students are welcome to stay in the co-working space at that time. Then when we come back, we have about 2 or 3 hours before a walkthrough. We'll do walkthroughs of the labs. Pretty much one of the instructors will share their screen and just go through the entire process of completing the assignment that the students had been working on for the past 2 or 3 days. Then after the lab review, we pretty much just move on to the next section, and students will keep watching the lectures and join the co-working space for more questions until 5. And I'll let Garrett give a little bit more of like a course overview.
So yeah, 14-week class, we kind of split it down the middle with what we do. So the first 7 weeks are heavily front end, like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and libraries for all of that. And then 8 to 10 will be backend and databases. And then after that, it's final projects. And that's all for me.
Okay, I'll take it from here. So like our instructors and TAs were talking about, all of this training that you're going to be doing, all this time that you had to be present, yes, it does lead to something, and that is these positions that you see here. So these are some of the working positions as an analyst or as a software developer that have been acquired by students in their training. As you see here, junior developer, front end developer, back end. On the data side, you have business analysts, different type of analysts, like fraud analysts, production manager, production systems analyst, all types of positions that have been acquired by our students from going through this 14-week boot camp. So there is definitely a lot to look forward to. And yes, these are real positions. Some of them I was definitely very surprised by. But as you can see, a lot of our students go on to be very successful after the program. And Kayla, I'll pass it on to you.
All right. So after all of that awesome information, I know you guys are wondering where to start in the application process. So I'll go over the admissions process a little bit. So where to start is actually the only place to start is on our website. And on our website, we offer a really pretty good brief overview of both of our programs. So the IMBHAM software development and software engineering and web development bootcamp, and then our data analytics bootcamp. So the information is there for you to just really help you decide which pathway you're most interested in. And then it's also a really good starting point, because even if you don't feel like you found as much information as you're looking for, I know that's a big decision. So it also is a really good starting point to help you find, just more places you want to research within each career path and find more information about each skill set. So after you kind of review those and review our eligibility criteria, then you would go ahead and submit your application on our website if you feel like you fit the eligibility criteria. And at that point, one of our staff members will review your initial application and determine if you're someone who would be a really good fit for the program based on all of that, and then our interest profiler. And then if not, then you'll also be redirected to some more resources, given a short, brief kind of overview. Usually you can find out in our eligibility criteria if there was a pretty straightforward reason why your application was denied, but most of our criteria has been broadened a good bit, so there shouldn't be too many issues outside of interest at this point. So if you are meeting the criteria, you'll be sent a link with our new process. So we actually have automated things with all of the COVID stuff going on, tried to automate our process a little bit more. And now we're using My Interview, which is an automated interviewing portion of the process. So you'll use that after you're sent some instructions for how to go forward with the interview and what you'll need to submit. And once you submit the My Interview portion of the interviewing process, the admissions committee, we meet on a weekly basis. And so we'll review your application, we'll review your My Interview, and from there we do a majority vote on our applicants. And If you are determined from there to meet all of our criteria and you're selected by the admissions committee, then one of our team members, which will probably be one of the TAs, will contact you with some pre-work and then some further instructions on how to proceed with your registration. And then once you have gotten your pre-work in, then you would actually get your orientation package, your acceptance letter, and all of the information you'll need. So you'll want to keep a check on your email going forward to make sure that you are not missing anything, so that you don't end up kind of on our wait list, which is not where you want to be. And so on our eligibility criteria, that's another thing I wanted to make sure I went over, because a lot of people are asking about it. You should be able to find it on the website, but if not, you do have to be at least 17. You have to be a resident of Jefferson County or one of the Central 6 County region counties. And then you also have to be currently not enrolled in any other formal training. And if you are not enrolled, you cannot have been for the last 6 months and not be under unemployed. So make sure that that's, you know, kind of in the fine print to review when you're talking about your employment status too. And we'll help you with reviewing all of that if you're questionable on any of that. So you can go ahead and submit your application and we can determine further if you are not completely sure. And so we also will let you know if you don't meet any of the other eligibility criteria as well. And once you're approved and enrolled and already on our roster for the class, then you'll get to also hear from our case manager, Brandy, and she'll give you some more information about some things that we may be able to offer you services to help you get through the program as well. So I'll hand it to her.
Hey everyone, I'm back. So my camera back working. So once you receive your acceptance letters, you will be sent a background check application. And once that is completed and you pass the background application, prior to orientation, we will meet one-on-one and just to see if I can navigate any assistance, any barriers. So we can try to work on trying to coordinate any services that you would need within the program within the 14 weeks to make sure you succeed. Also during the process, case management, like I said, we have various assessments. We will have check-ins, supportive services. We have counseling services. For assistance, we provide with housing assistance, utilities, transportation, childcare, all things in that nature that you may be having difficulties with trying to succeed in a program. Also, I like to build a rapid rapport with you all so I can just get to know you, and you know, without you kind of telling me what you need, I can kind of just identify your needs to assess all the barriers that you have to make sure you succeed. So that's why we have supportive services, because when trying to be in a program, being in school, anything, support system is one of the biggest things that you need. So just to let you know, here at Innovate Birmingham, we are your #1 supporters, advocate, mentors, mediators, anything we can do to help you succeed in a program 14 weeks. So you'll be working closely with me prior to orientation. And if you need to meet with me before orientation, just in case if you need any kind of coordination services, we can always have a meeting just to get things started before the program.